Hey, I heard somebody wanted to ask me a question. What's my strategy for fixing Santee-Cooper Resort and how fast can I implement it? Thanks, I am thrilled to answer you. But first, my goal is to give you a clear plan for moving forward so that you can make better decisions for the overall growth of your business by identifying where you are, identifying where you want to be, identifying how we're going to get there. Because I know you're busy, I won't waste your time. But I do need to ask you one question first. Is that all right? What makes Santee-Cooper Resort different? Over the past 19 months, Santee-Cooper Resort, particularly Lake Marion Golf Course, in collaboration with Low Country Pioneer Solutions, have implemented key profit-generating strategies into each of your departments in some form or another, especially your marketing and advertising departments. In there, we have created proactive referral generating systems using direct response copywriting. We've also added customer relationship management systems through Infusionsoft and Keep. Also, Nexus Deep Channel business growth auditing, as well as Nexus Deep Channel strategic sales training for your package team members. You may be asking, so what has this done for you? Well, it's revealed where profits have traditionally been lost. Also, it's allowed us to devise and implement tactics creating immediate short-term goals and gains. It's also assisted us in the preparation and response training for COVID-19 pandemic, as well as including working closely with your management to navigate the economic impact using viable education from industry leaders such as the NGCOA and Harvard Business Review and other resources. So what has this not done for you? Well, it has not addressed the core problems facing the Santee-Cooper Resort Board of Directors. It is not prepared for aging out of senior leadership staff. It has not enabled for accurate financial forecasting, and it has not resolved the greater question, which is how come all these new things we do keep bringing in more money and yet we have not become profitable? My answer: a lack of clarity, a lack of a succession plan, and a need to embrace new technology. More progressive staff training with integrating of your departments so that you can have your solution. And your solution is that I can help you in identifying clear goals for your board of directors, as well as I help management in designing and implementing strategies. Where do we begin? Well, we begin with working with the board to identify your specific expectations. Then we identify immediate problems, resolving within ourselves to not tolerate them. Then we're going to diagnose those problems to identify the root causes. And then we're going to design strategic plans and appropriate tactics to correct those problems. And then implementing those plans expeditiously. And then measuring and reviewing your strategic plan's efficacy, finding out what worked, what didn't work, so we're not wasting time repeating things that are not effective. Now, for those who may not be familiar with me, my name is A. David Griffin. The A stands for Albert. I love helping people fulfill their dreams by overcoming obstacles. I wake up every day looking for new ways to serve my clients. I'm a published author, former pastor, and entrepreneur. I really love God and am passionate about helping others enjoy Him in their everyday lives. I am a successful business growth consultant who's here to help you. Now, let's talk a little business. I want to run over some definitions with you so we're talking the same language in the same context. First, asset. An asset is an economic resource that is expected to provide a benefit over a period of time. That would be something like a building or a new computer server, not the electricity that empowers them, though. Then we'll look at a fixed asset. A fixed asset is an asset that results from using up resources in the process of its production. That could be an airplane or a golf cart. not the amount of cash in your account. We want to look at what a perceived value is. Perceived value is defined as the customer's overall assessment of the utility of a product based on perceptions of what is received and what is given. It is also where customers regard perceived value as more important if there are actions directed at people's intangible assets. Customers perceive the tangible dimension as more important if there are tangible actions directed at goods and other physical possessions involved. I'm going to go a lot more into this a little bit later. But for now, we will look at product versus service marketing. Unlike product marketing, service marketing has a much more limited choice in strategies due to its inherent abstract quality. So the challenge is how to make something intangible tangible for profits and growth. Spending resources. An expenditure your business makes that creates a long-lived stream of productive services, such as factors of production. These could be categorized in these two ways as tangible goods or services and intangible goods or services. So, how can this help Santee-Cooper Resorts' profits? Well, for one, understanding that the perceptions of service quality held by both customers and employees have been shown to be related directly to profitability. We also understand that the degree of tangibility exists not only in the service output, but also in the service process. And we also understand that customers gauge the value of the item or service they are buying by evaluating the quality of the intangible product when it is presented as being very high. In other words, when a customer is treated as though they are royalty, they perceive cognitively it is as appropriate to buying higher priced tangible goods and services. Managers that do this best will assure their customers that their pricing is appropriately matched to the quality of the intangible, that's the emotive product they received. In other words, you make people feel like they're royalty, they'll spend their money on higher priced goods and services. But the way they're treated by the intangible service has to match that. Now, why, again, is this important? Now, because due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are now facing a new negative factor unrealized for over 100 years. This is the perceived risk and how it greatly affects the value of your intangible service. What types of risk would Santee-Cooper Resort be facing? Well, financial risk, performance risk, physical risk, psychological risk, and social risk. It has been proven that each type of these risks was increased when dealing with services as opposed to products. Quick recap: an intangible is something that has attributes which are included in service like responsiveness, reliability, those intangible, ethereal benefits that a customer will receive. The tangible, rather, are attributes like the grounds, the decor, the furnishings. Concrete. In an industry such as yours that is heavily reliant upon both tangible, course and facility, and intangible, bookings and customer care, these attributes, there are not greater implications you must consider in your strategic thinking process when preparing a strategic plan for future growth, particularly concerning sustainability over the next 12 to 24 months. So, drawing from construal level practices, that's a specialized discipline of economic behavioral psychology, we will identify the most appropriate tactics to improve your prospects and your current customer stickiness to increase the overall perceived value of Santee-Cooper Resort Incorporated. In addition, we will continue to work with management to implement strategic training to better equip your package and marketing teams in the areas of advanced selling versus on-site selling by identifying the appropriate attributes to emphasize in their marketing communications. To do this using construal level, it will enable us to generate sales copy that is more time relevant to your customers' circumstances. It will also provide the insights into maintaining valuable relationships for near future and distant future bookings. Now, let's go a little bit more into how we're actually going to do this. Well, how to tangibilize your intangible products for consistent growth and profits. The marketing strategy, tangibilizing your intangibles, will consist of identifying what intangible services require tangibilization. What can we identify that is an intangible service that will require us to be able to create it and reshape it in a way where it becomes tangibly viable and valuable to your prospecting customer? Now, also, a service is any act or performance that one party can offer to another that is essentially tangible and does not result in ownership or anything. That's Kohler 1990. We're also going to employ using mental imagery to communicate visual information to facilitate mental memory. And we're going to highlight niche features of Lake Marion Golf Course, such as the Palmetto Traverse. Also, identify customer expectations regarding the desired service quality through customer surveys and audits. Also, marketing service products must include an instrument to ensure service quality is consistent. Now, there are some managerial observations I'd like to add to this as well. Over the past 20 years, there have been numerous marketing strategies employed to reduce the perception of risk for any consumer. Most focused upon the physical intangible product, such as a hair salon. Hair salons use a very highly intangible outcome service, very subjective. So what they did, they took images, very visual images of people, and they blew them up really large and they put them on the walls of these beautiful hair products and outcomes of hairstyles, which decrease the sense of risk that the prospective customer would have getting a haircut. Sounds simple, right? The evidence has proven that manipulating physical intangibility is not better than focusing upon mental intangibility of consumers regarding products or services. So although they did a physical manipulation to diminish the threat of the risk for the customer by putting up these images, these visual images, it has been proven to be more successful to actually send communications to viable prospects, working on the psychology of the person to understand how to mitigate and decrease risk. Another managerial observation is that it's more profitable for your management to motivate your frontline staff and sales team to give customers a clear understanding of what they sell. The employee who teaches his customer not only adds more tangibility to the intangible product, as well as reduces the customer's perceived risk, but also giving the customer a clear picture in their mind, knowing what to expect, and find less difficulty in making a positive decision to purchase your product. Also, despite which form of marketing strategy agreed upon, consistency in maintaining the quality is just as important. Once tangibilized, the intangible image must be maintained consistently. Consistent reviewing and surveying must also become a regular component of your marketing operations. On this note, I'll now turn your attention to the handout.